good evening. It's another episode of the Central Texas Music Experience. Here we are with Matt Siegel and Mylon English with 7 Years Today. They're going to play a little opener for you.
Kerosene lamp and a wood-burning stove, an iron skillet and an old cane pole. Out where my papa learned to play them blues, with the Mississippi River where he spent his days. His daddy a gambler who threw his money away. Mississippi River, roll on. Just a one-man band with the cymbals between his knees, 6 on his lap, sitting on dreams. No car, no need for gasoline. He built them roads to the Grand Ole Opry. He put a line, he lived off in that Mississippi. He built them roads from Tennessee to Texas. Ain't it funny? That's the road I went. Road I went, road I went, yeah. Well, the Great Depression was when he would pray not to eat them catfish 3 times a day. What was that poor boy to do? As he's running out of money, he's living off of dreams. He built them bridges across my country. American highway, roll on. Just a one-man band with his cymbals between his knees, 6 on his lap, sitting on dreams. No car, no need for gasoline. He built them roads to the Grand Ole Opry. He put a line, he lived off in that Mississippi. He built them roads from Tennessee to Texas. Ain't it funny? That's the road I went. Road I went, road I went, road I went, yeah. He built them roads to the Grand Ole Opry. He put a line, he lived off in that Mississippi. He built them roads from Tennessee to Texas, yeah. Ain't it funny? That's the road I went. Yeah, that's the road I went. Kerosene lamp and a wood-burning stove, an iron skillet and an old cane pole. Out where my papa learned to play them blues.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that.
Thanks, man.
Hey, I just want to welcome everybody to the second episode of the Central Texas Music Experience. I'm Johnston Plumley, your host, and we have Matt Siegel and Mylon English from 7 Years Today.
Hola.
So how you guys doing this evening?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty excited. I was actually nervous, you guys coming up here and doing this for me, and but I feel like it's a good opportunity. We get the bands out there. That's the whole point, is getting, these local acts out there, have a new forum to kind of, say what they want to say, talk about music. Really doesn't matter.
Well, you don't look nervous, man. You
All
look
right,
like
I appreciate that.
You got
man.
it all under control.
Hey, man, like I said, I was doing research on you guys. And I'll tell you what, I love that song. And I was telling Matt before you got here, is every time I hear you guys play, and I think I told you guys this before, is that you guys sound very, very tight.
Thanks.
And you guys have this stage presence that, let me move the mic here. The stage presence, I mean, you look like a rock star on stage. And, Matt's got his, groove thing going on, bass player. You got Frank in the back doing his thing. Everybody's an individual, but when it comes to the song and songs, and you guys put it together, it's just like one cohesive unit. But it's just like you guys got style and flavor, and I like that. And I really appreciate you guys coming out.
We appreciate you, man. Thanks
So,
for,
I mean,
thanks for the compliments.
let's talk about some music. Let's talk about, the songs, song inspirations, maybe musical inspirations. What is your favorite song to play? Let's get into it.
What's your favorite song, man?
Favorite song to play? I'm really big on our originals, but by the time I even bring a song to the band, I pretty much played it out myself, you know. So honestly, I enjoy playing the other guys' covers, the other guys' originals tunes, because they're still the band, and it's like everybody contributes, so it's cool being able to sing somebody else's words, but it's still the heart and soul of the band,
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, it changes, it really depends upon the show.
Yeah.
There are some shows where, if a certain song just hits a certain way, it's just like, oh yeah, that feels good, but...
Especially if it's a song that you've, opened up for a bigger band, like Blackberry Smoke or Whiskey Myers, and then you get to play their song after you open up for them, and they're such cool guys.
Yeah.
When you meet them and you play their song, it's just, it's special.
Yeah, when it comes to covers, I definitely think, for myself personally, I enjoy playing Guitar Picker, which is a Whiskey Myers tune. It's kind of, even though it's their tune, I take it very personally. A lot of the lyrics I could very much relate, old broke guitar picker when I die.
Right.
I mean, what is that like, being able to play in front of somebody that you guys have listened to, what is that like? What is that? What do you feel? What do you feel?
Those are the feelings, my friend, that keep you going. Those are those things you sit back and you almost look at it and you're just like, wow. You're like, finally, you look at you like, my goals have paid off. At least some of them short-term, long-term goals now. And it's inspiring, man. It's cool.
And what's really cool also, a lot of those guys are really just, once you meet them, I think we all kind of have our own conception of what some of these rock stars are like or what some of these musicians are like. And they're just average dudes that, this is their job and they love doing it and just cool people. So, and that's really, we've had some that maybe don't fit that mold, but, the two that we just talked about, Blackberry Smoke and Whiskey Myers, those dudes are all cool as anything.
Yeah, I watched them play a show at Shep's. I don't remember the date, maybe a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was really like, hearing it live versus hearing it on iTunes or whatever.
Right.
And it's a different experience. And it's the same thing with the music scene in general. Hearing it on Reverb Nation, you guys got to come out and support local bands.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. These guys are putting their heart and soul into the music, and this is something that only artists can understand. But if you can appreciate artistry, and you can appreciate music, and you can appreciate talent, you gotta check 7 Years Today out. You gotta check out the local bands too.
I appreciate that.
And
I think that's something. I'm sorry to interrupt. But when you talk about doing this podcast, there are so many bands here in Central Texas that are very talented.
Yeah.
And bringing out great material of their own. And I just think we have a great little scene here that a lot of more people need to know about. So when you guys asked us to come on, it was like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
I would like to see an actual bigger venue out here that was more accommodating to the music scene out here. You know, from what I gather, there's only so many places that you can play at, and then you have to go outside of the area. Like I'm looking at like your tour dates right now for your website,
Right.
and I mean let's plug a couple of those tour dates. I see that on July the 13th, 2000 this year, 2013, you're going to be playing in Three Rivers, Texas, at Three Rivers Bar.
Right.
You're also going to be playing on July the 18th, which is a Thursday, in Mansfield, Texas, at Fat Daddy's.
Yeah.
Friday, July the 19th, San Angelo at Stillwater Bar and Grill, and July the 20th, at Midland, Texas, a Redneck's Draft House and Billiards.
Yeah.
You guys are busy.
Yeah.
Busy.
Excited about it.
Yeah.
It's nice to be, on the road. I mean, love playing your hometown. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love it. But it's cool when you get to leave for the weekend and then come back to your hometown and play some gigs there and you hit the road. It's nice hitting the road. That's what the goal is.
Yeah.
I mean, that we want to do this, because we love it. And this is the only thing I've ever truly, thoroughly enjoyed doing in my life, that I could see myself doing forever. And I know the other guys feel the same way. And
I mean, usually it's good that when everybody in the band and everybody in the group has a cohesive idea. So if you guys, what is the ultimate goal for the band? Is it to get a record deal, or is it to be independent, or is it just to tour and play music, to stay constantly busy? And what is your ultimate goal at the end of the day?
I think we all have different views.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, and you could definitely say a different opinion. I mean, but I think we just want to play music where if music could pay the bills, how that happens, whether that's independent or record deal.
Exactly.
I have my own views about record deals that I like doing things independently. I think you see with a lot of the larger Texas artists that they're doing this on their own, and there's a model for it that it can be done. I kind of like that, but if a label was to come along and give us a deal that was a good deal, which seems to be few and far between these days, I'm not saying no.
Right? Yeah,
if it's
sure.
going to put us on the road and pay our bills and
Yeah.
let's just keep on making music.
I mean,
the ultimate goal is to make music.
out of all the groups out here, I mean, from what I gathered watching different groups, you guys seem to be the ones that I would say, like, yeah, I can see them. I can see them doing a large concert on a large
I
scale.
appreciate that.
I mean, just because you have some, Mylon, you got some showmanship, man. You look, when you get that acoustic out and you're just strumming and you got them legs spread out and you point to the sky. I'm telling you, man, that is straight rock god type stuff. Man. that is a cut above. And you know what? A lot of bands, from what I understand, I mean, just from being around music, is that kills. That either makes or breaks. Bands sometimes. I mean, you may have good music, but you got shoddy showmanship, and you guys got it in spades, in my opinion. I mean, that's just me.
I appreciate that.
I hope you guys all agree. If you guys have never seen a 7 Years Today show and you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the Reverb Nation page. Go to the reverbnation.com /7 Years Today. That's 7 with the number 7. Don't spell it out. And you can watch Mylon's birthday bash. And he's doing exactly what I'm talking about, pointing to the sky, interacting with the other bandmates, and interacting with the crowd. They even got this thing where everyone's got a stick and they're bashing on Frank's cymbals in the back over there, which I love. That's spontaneity and showmanship, man. That really shines through in the music.
How much of that birthday bash do you remember?
Oh man, a little hazy.
Yeah, a little hazy.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But
we've always, we play more of the bluesy rock stuff now. It's, it definitely fits more in the Texas country genre. But we were like I don't know, you call it new age rock band. We had sort of like a '90s vibe to it. But we were a rock band for a good amount of time, and so we still try to bring that energy. I remember growing up, going from Kansas City, and I would go to punk shows. That was I loved punk shows. I like getting in the mosh pit. I love punk shows, but I would hate going to a concert. You guys are playing punk music, and then they're just standing there. Then you go to another, show, and these guys are jumping in the mosh pit with you, spinning in circles, hanging on rafters. You know what I mean? You're like, wow. You don't forget that. You know, I always, when I play a show, I just want to give somebody something they look back and go, dude, you remember when that guy did that? That was awesome. You know, I want to give, somebody something to remember. And ever since the beginning, me and Matt have talked about that. You know, showmanship, what we're going to do on stage. I mean, it's about the music, but you got to give people a show, man. You gotta play live music, man. I mean, I think you gotta give some people something to remember. And I think a lot of bands around here really, really do that, man. Now, it's harder to do that on your own when you just play acoustic. But, when you get your full band together and everybody's on point, then it's easier to open up. When you got a really good band backing you, it's easy to spin in a bunch of circles and miss some chords on the acoustic guitar.
Yeah. Or,
Is that what it is?
or snap.
My acoustic guitar may get a little sloppy, but the move look really cool.
Or you snap a string and you guys, hey, cover for me. Well,
And just keep it going.
So on a local level, who is your other favorite band other than yourselves to watch right now? Do you guys have a favorite, or just a favorite artist out here?
I do not have a favorite, man.
I've got a favorite songwriter. I know that for sure.
Who's that?
Stormy, man.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Stormy.
I think you do a cover.
The first song we wrote, me and Stormy wrote that together, man. I wrote that about my Papa Bettner, my dad's Papa, and I've written a couple songs with Stormy. And who else also, man? John Reynolds from the Stone-Faced Cowboys. He is an amazing lyricist. Him and Stormy, man, I don't know. They're in a tie. they're in a tie, I think. There's some, and I'm not taking away from anybody else around in the scene that writes music, man. There's some great songwriters. But two guys who have been my good friend for a long time and who have helped me write music, and like give me ideas, and I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean,
you guys are just feeding off each other.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. And I think the music scene now, man, does that on a real big level. I host the open mic at Joker's Ice House every Sunday, and I host the local artist night at O'Brien's every Tuesday. Ashley does Shadow Lounge on Monday. Justin does ABU on Wednesday. I know we got Tanks on Friday. I don't know what we have on Thursday. I'm probably missing something, but I know there's a couple more. I know Dave Irons does an open mic on Wednesday as well. And I'm telling you, you go to any of these open mics, and there's a bunch of musicians there, and everybody collaborates a little bit. Everybody feeds off each other and works together, man, and gets up there on stage. And, Tyler Rawson may jump up there and play a lead with me, but he don't even play those songs. He's just heard them a bunch of times, but he'll hop up there and just right on point. And then you got, everybody jumping in with instruments, or harmonies. And, dude, it's just
I ran up there a couple times and did some bongos.
Likewise, man. That's just where it's at, I mean, I know for a fact you can walk into O'Brien's or Joker's on those nights, and you've got at least, a good 10 musicians in their acts, like people who are singing, not including the other musicians that are in just 10 acts, and then pieces of their bands that roll up in there. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Well, outside of the local music scene, national acts. What are you guys' favorite right now? National. Major record.
Man, I really dig Mumford & Sons. I'm really digging Mumford & Sons. There's a band called Spoon that I'm pretty into. Spoon. They're off the chain.
Yeah.
Matt got me into the off the top of my head, I can't even remember it now. Not another band of gypsies. Band of Heathens.
Well,
yeah.
They're like an Austin,
kind
of, regional, but they're definitely, on the Americana scene, they're definitely out there.
Okay, so past influences. Let's run through them.
Oh man,
I'm from Kansas City, and I love Puddle of Mud. I went to school with Wes Scanlon's cousins, man, and then we got the opportunity to open up for them at Rock the Hood in 2010 on Fort Hood, and that was amazing. I got to see Flyleaf and Puddle of Mud, and those are two huge inspirations to me. I love both of those bands, and so it was really cool to be able to open up for them.
Yeah, and it's so cool because I mean we all have very diverse interests
Yeah.
and influences. I mean, I come from this family of not musicians, but a lot of music appreciation. And I grew up. My dad was a huge Dylan fan, so and I just got like a bunch of his Dylan records.
I'm so jealous.
So, and
I'm envious of those. I saw these got like volume 1 and 2, these live albums.
Yeah,
I'm like, ugh.
good stuff. So, but like anything from Dylan, and then my older brother, you know, he got me into Zeppelin and the Allman Brothers.
Oh yeah.
The Allman Brothers are probably like my biggest influence, and even though I'm from New York, you know, it's sort of like I listen to Allman Brothers and Skinner, and you know, a lot of the Southern rock stuff. You know, even like Molly Hatchet and the Outlaws.
Well, there's a certain honesty to that type of music, in the way that it sounds.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not. I mean, it's blues based.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where I kind of came from a lot. You know, I mean, you know, Zeppelin's blues based. You know, I was big into Clapton for a while, obviously, and it actually started for me with Eddie Van Halen, which obviously isn't blues based. But he said you always go back to whoever your hero is, find out who his hero is, and his hero was Clapton. Clapton's heroes were Muddy Waters and B.B. King.
Yeah.
And, you know, it goes back and you keep on going.
I hate to interrupt, but you know, I heard I was watching this documentary called Sound City. David Grohl.
Dave Grohl. Sure.
Yeah, and he kind of made a comment like that. He's or one of the artists made a comment like that. Said, you know, you go to your inspirations to see what their inspirations were, and the further you go back, it's less technology. And you know, sad to say that sometimes less technology equals better music because it's more the human element involved,
Right.
which you guys pull off very well. I really love the music, and so is there anything that you guys want to plug? You know, while we're making a transition before you guys want to play another song.
Let's see.
Well, I mean, we're in the studio now.
Yeah.
So,
We're in I just laid down final vocals on 2 of our tracks, Kansas City, and one that Matt wrote called Last Train.
Okay, so this is a full band in the studio.
Yeah.
Because I checked out some of your acoustic stuff on your page, and man, it sounds pretty good. Where you guys did that? Where did you guys do that recording at?
Probably at Brad's.
Yeah, it's
I
all
would have met all at Brad's.
Okay.
Yeah, we have our own
Blue
little-
Cat Productions.
Studio, yeah.
Blue Cat Studios,
Something
sorry.
like that, something like that. Brad, our bass player, he's got his own little project studio.
Mhm.
And even the stuff we're doing now, we're doing there. I mean, we toyed around with the idea about going back into a studio. You know, we were looking at some of the ones in Austin. We were looking at the Compound or Yellow Dog or Fifth Street. And we're like, well, let's demo these songs
Yeah.
at Brad's. And we demoed them and like, man, this sounds really good. You know, why aren't we could do it ourselves. I mean, we've done recording ourselves in the past, and we're just going for it.
Yeah, I like the aspect of the whole homegrown, you know, scenario, because there's more of an appreciation for, you know, because you're writing the songs yourself, obviously, you know, you're hitting the studio, you're doing the work, you're putting the time in, and you're really on your own schedule, really, and that's the whole argument for being independent or being a major label.
Right.
You're independent, you're kind of on your own time, you know. Okay, I have a studio in my house, or my friend's got a studio in his house. Okay, we want to release an album here, or we want to release some tracks, or EP, or LP, or whatever you want to do. You're calling your shots. You don't have somebody, you know, in a suit and tie, telling you, okay, you have, you know, this timeline, this date, and basically lawyers and accountants, you know, telling you guys what to do as far as music is concerned.
Sure.
You know, so that.
And I mean, something you mentioned before. I mean, like with how when you go back, that the less technology, the more human it was. The thing is that technology now is so advanced that you can get home studio production sounding pretty close to something those $1 million studios are going to get you.
Yeah.
And because you have the time, you know, you can spend, you know, 3 times the amount of time mixing something and going over it and over, because that's it. We don't have an accountant saying, you know, watch the clock.
Yeah, you need to get your mix ready. You know, is your mix ready?
Sure. Thank you. Oh goodness.
Yeah, Brandon didn't come back yet. Okay. So, you know, we're just here chilling out in my house doing this podcast and drinking some Lone Star. And I apologize. I don't mean to plug Lone Star because I know you guys.
Oh yeah, this shock top tastes delicious.
had to throw that in there. You know. So, Well, you guys want to knock out another song? All righty.
What are you feeling?
I don't know. What are you feeling?
You want to do one of the ones we just recorded? Like
Yeah.
City or
Yeah, say some. Just throw some new stuff out there.
This was called Kansas City Shuffle. Took 435 out of Kansas City. Did not know what I was looking for. I knew there just had to be something more. So I joined and jumped on the green me machine. The army sort of me, they make a man out of me. Sign right here, it's what you're looking for, yeah. Sign right here, it's what you're looking for. Oh, I still miss home-cooked dinner, chilly in the winter, sitting at the moon tower with all my friends. I still miss home. I still miss the little girl that came and grabbed my hand, told me I'd be the one to be her man. As you can see, I'm standing here all alone. I would like to thank her for inspiring my new song, yeah. Oh, I still miss home-cooked dinner, chilly in the winter, chilling at the moon tower with all my friends. I still miss home. I still miss home. Gathered every dollar that I had, helped me buy this guitar I strap on my back. I'm still trying to pay it off. I hope the tips that I make tonight help me pay it off. Oh, I still miss home-cooked dinner, chilly in the winter, sitting at the moon tower with all my friends. I still miss home, yes I do. I still miss home. I still miss home. I still miss home.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Love it. Love it. Went ahead and snapped some pictures of you guys.
Make us feel like rock stars over here.
Hey.
Pictures, microphones in the faces.
Hey, that's what we got to do out here, man. Hey, fake it until you make it? Or something like that?
I like you 10 more cool points now. Not that you didn't already have like 1,025, but
I appreciate
you
it,
got
man.
10 more now.
Appreciate it. I'll take it to the bank, man. So, you guys you said you were in the studio now. You guys just recorded, you laid the vocals on 2 tracks. When is a release date? Or do you guys have something set in stone, or?
We are looking. We're still a little tentative on the release date. It's going to be within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
So, and what we plan to do is just do a digital release.
Okay.
So you'll be able to buy it on iTunes and Amazon and a lot of the MP3 markets you can get it from. And we're going to release 2 songs at a time.
Okay.
And then we'll probably, we're still kind of working through the details of it all, or whatever our plan is. But we're thinking that every couple of months we'll release another 2, and then eventually we'll have a record.
Okay.
But it's just to keep it fresh and keep on putting out new material for music, to have something new to listen to and download. And
Any chance you guys are going to have some radio play or anything like that?
That's our goal.
Okay.
That's really our short-term goal right now. I'd say at the moment is,
Now you guys were on the radio recently.
on KRA in Bryan College Station.
So how did that go? What was that like?
It was fun, man. It was cool. They're chill down there, man. I love College
You guys
Station.
played a couple songs out there, and
No, well, we played a live set out on the porch, but we just did like an interview, a live interview with me, Matt, and Brad.
okay.
I'm sorry, Frank. Brad wasn't there.
Okay.
Frank and Brad look very different.
Yeah, they're both sexy
They are both in their own special
in their own special way.
That's right. But really, the goal is to start pushing one of the songs to radio. KRA out there, they're really cool. We're working on some stuff up in Fort Worth at a couple of the stations there. And this sort of we're just laying the groundwork right now.
Yeah.
Texas is interesting because you have this market where radio is still important,
Mhm.
whereas in other parts of the country, radio really it doesn't have the same impact.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, not only that, you got these major cities that have very different scenes.
Yeah.
So one thing you wouldn't hear somewhere else, you're going to hear it. If you don't hear it in Austin, you're going to hear it in Dallas or Houston or San Antonio. You got these
Yeah.
very different markets, and
are very
yeah.
different. They are, and I mean some are more supportive, of Texas-based music, and that's what I think those are the markets we're going to focus on. So to hopefully help push us along.
Now, I read something on your bio, Matt, that I thought was pretty interesting, and I'm going to pull it up here on your webpage here.
I didn't know it.
I did some research on you guys. I'm not going in this thing cold because the other day when I did the first podcast, I said I'm gonna have someone Googling for me all the time,
Right.
and I'm gonna do some fact checking and stuff like that. So I mean, I might as well be up on my homework. If I'm gonna fact check people, I better be good on my fact checking.
Nice.
So I mean, if my okay, well, basically what the quote was talking about the differences between Texas music and Tennessee and music from Tennessee, Nashville, by way of Memphis, and you brought up a point where people are playing Johnny Cash with an electric guitar. Elaborate. What are your feelings on the differences? Why are people so against Nashville in the music scene, and I guess the Texas country music scene? What is the deal with that? I haven't quite understood that.
That's something that you get me talking about it. It might take up the rest of the podcast, but I'll try to be brief. But essentially, I mean, the Nashville scene, the Nashville sound, whatever that is, it's just very pop based. And the thing is what the point I think I was trying to make. It's been a long time since I wrote that quote, but Texas is. I love Texas country and whatever. Texas country is a very broad term because, Jason Boland is Texas country, but so is Whiskey Myers, and those are two acts that sound nothing like each other. So really it seems it's almost more just a regional thing about where you're based.
Right.
So I love Texas country, but Texas country has its pop, or its equivalent to Nashville, and there are artists that I think they sing about, their songs are sort of like the same thing over and over, and I love drinking beer, I love floating the river, I love all that stuff, but there's only so many songs that I could hear about drinking beer, floating the river, and my pickup truck, and all that.
Yeah.
And Nashville does the same thing. I mean, Nashville is all about, their marketing. Nashville to me, especially like a lot of modern Nashville stuff, is, there's a bunch of suits in an office that says, we need to sell this new Chevy truck. So we're going to have a song written by some songwriter that is going to get people like, yeah, man, I need a Chevy.
Yeah.
And it's just very commercial, and I don't know, I know there's a balance between art and commerce, and I think Nashville is way off the map with that. And I think Texas, maybe I'm biased because I've lived in Texas since '96, but I think Texas has a little bit more in the art,
Yeah.
you know, of it all.
Well, if you go down to Austin, I mean, you can clearly see that. I mean, that's a very art-based, you know, area. Very little, but you know, it's more keen to you know, arts as, you know, a broad spectrum. You know, whether it's, you know, the fine arts or music or, you know, painting or whatever.
Well, and even like the singer-songwriters that you get out of Texas,
Mhm.
you're not going to get a Hayes Carl from Nashville. It
Yeah.
just doesn't happen. You know, you're not going to get a Ray Wiley Hubbard. You know, I mean, and so when I say art, you know, I mean that. You get these songwriters. You know, I mean, like even the local guys that we're talking about, like Stormy. I mean, Stormy could write a freaking song.
You can write a song, man.
So yeah. So and I mean,
Yeah.
like up a little bit further north, there's a guy Russian Steel. That man, I went to go see him about a month ago out in Temple, and the first line of this song, I'm sitting there with Tom from Headley Grange, and we're two guys, and like we were almost in tears off that first line. He just hit us, you know, and you're not going to get that with a lot of that pop country stuff.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah, I kind of been out of the loop for a while as far as the, you know, the modern today's music scene. You know, because I haven't been in town lately, but you know, being in the more local, you know, music scene. You know, it's you gain an appreciation for true talent. So,
Right.
you know, there's only so much bubblegum you could stand, and then till you go crazy.
That's it. That's it.
So, Mylon, I read a quote from your bio as well, and like I said, I'm gonna do some. I did my homework here, and it was the very last question. It was, what do you enjoy most about music? And I'm gonna paraphrase it a little bit, but you were in your car, and you had your music turned up loud, and you were listening to "It's a Great Day to Be Alive" by Travis Tritt. And there was a lady on the corner who appeared to be, you know, down in the dumps. And when she heard it, you know, she kind of just took whatever load that was on her shoulders and took it off. And then as you're driving away, or you know, whatever the scenario was, she mouthed "thank you" to you. So, is that I mean, I know you said you wanted to leave an impression as, you know, something to remember. If that impression is very small, even something as simple as a thank you, if you're playing, for example, at O'Brien's, and someone had a hard day and they come in and they hear you play, or hear you guys play, and they say, "Hey, man, look, you guys just brought some perspective to my life by listening to your song." Is that more important?
Yeah, that's the goal, man. I mean, you caught it. I mean, you caught what I was trying to say. Any amount of greatness starts with a mustard seed, man. You know, I mean, just the smallest amount of. Let me check this out. This was really cool. This happened to me the other day, and it's weird that you had brought this up because I was thinking about this the other day. And it's something small. I was walking in the gas station the other day, and there was a lady who was like trying to hurry up to the door, and I just stepped back, and she was a good 8 or 9 seconds away from the door. You know, enough time where I could have just walked out and left, and she had still 4 or 5 more steps before she opened the door. I stood there for a minute, smiled, and said hello, and it was like instantly she went from like kind of, you know, busy to like a thank you. You know, like instantly it was like a thank you. And so I'd walked out of the store. I was sitting in my truck for a minute, and this lady, another guy, was walking out the store. When she left, she went out of her way because the door was shut, and she jumped back to the door to open it up to help somebody else and said hello to this next person. You know, and then this guy got a smile on his face. And I just happened to be there to witness that small chain of events. You know, but I think something tiny like that, just a smile, a thank you, and an appreciative, you know, gesture towards somebody goes such a long way, man. I mean, just such a long way. So if I can write a song that could do that to somebody, you know, if I can write a song that maybe is deep, but you kind of understand it, and you walk away with like goosebumps, you know, you're like, oh, that just hit me, you know. Your actions after that aren't going to be angry. You know, they're going to be uplifting, so to speak, you know, or make you think deeper about that choice you made earlier that day, or give you a different perspective on choice that you have made. Because, I mean, I make choices, like constantly make a certain choice, and then somebody gives me a perspective of it, like, whoa, I didn't even realize that my choice had that effect, that negative effect. But now that I realize this, I'm going to change that. That's life.
And you want your music to be a reflection of that. That's what I'm gathering from.
Hard time, ups and downs. Yeah. That's what our name means. 7 years today is, my buddy looked at me, and I was going through a hard time. He goes, man, in 7 years from today, you'll have a different life, a different set of problems. You're going to have different people, same people around you. He's like, why are you so upset over this? Relax, man. Just take it day by day. That's really where the name comes from, man.
Well, I appreciate the honesty in answering that, because that's actually the first question that is on your bio right there. Is what I like on the end quote was, and nothing you're going through right now is too hard. Nothing. So as a musician, obviously you're going to have those ups and downs and struggling periods. How do you cope with for example, maybe writer's block, or maybe you guys have a great song and you can't come up with a riff or something like that goes apart, or you get stuck on a line. How do you guys cope with that? What's the mechanism?
With each other, kind of, so to speak. Or I have my own ways. If I got writer's block, I may do this. But if, I may throw in a vinyl, like Matt. Matt's got a vinyl player too. Or I'll call Matt up and be like, hey, just throw me an idea. Just, here's a scenario. Give me an idea. So I've done that before. Or, Stormy. Stormy's like my go-to man for songwriting. If I'm really stuck, I call Stormy up and be like, hey, man, we'll get together for an evening. You have those certain niches that kind of help you get through that.
Yeah.
I think what's cool also is, there are 3 songwriters in the band, really.
Oh, yeah,
so,
exactly.
Like, if one of us hits a dry spell, then there'll be someone else to kind of support. And I think pretty consistently we've gotten new material. It's just really finding the right material for us. Because not everything's going to hit, but it just kind of keeps the pool open.
Sure.
So is it more about consistency as far as songwriting is concerned for you guys? Obviously, if you write one song, you may have a song later on down the line that may sound almost exactly the same, maybe same key, maybe the lyrical content might be the same, or the chord progressions may be the same, or the structure may be different. So is the goal consistency? Is the goal trying to come up with something new and progressive? Or is it, okay, this is my audience, this is my base, do I want to stick with that, or do I try to, on certain aspects, try to go outside of that to try to...
Both of those.
To be creative.
Yeah, both of those things, because you want to... I think you want to gather more fans, and you want to keep the ones that you have. So it's really you growing as a band. That what you just kind of said is growing as a band. Because you're always wanting to write something better than the last song. You're always wanting, when one song hits, it's like, oh, yeah, I want to write something better than that. And then that next song maybe has a different kind of vibe to it almost. It's still your stuff, still your style. And I think our style varies, man. We're all over the map sometimes with songs. That's the beautiful part of it, though.
I think something that I appreciate about all the songwriters in the band, Mylon and Brad, and something that I aspire to, is that all our songs are very much focused either on our lives, about the reality of our situation, or something related to it. American Highway is about Mylon's grandfather, or great-grandfather. Yeah. And, Kansas City is, not to put words in your mouth, but that's a lot about Mylon's journey into the military and, some of the feelings that, occur, when you're away from home and all that. And, we all have songs all our songs, I think that to gain fans, it's really about being honest. And I think you write, there's going to be fiction in everything, and that's cool. But I think if you're really getting to a genuine emotion, that's how we gain fans.
Yeah, I really appreciate listening to a song like you were talking about earlier, and just being able to feel You know, I may not be able to relate in a literal sense to a song, but the idea and the principles behind the song I can, you know, relate to, because maybe I've gone through something similar, or I know somebody who's gone through something similar, and with your differences, with maybe your different influences, style, charisma, your different, I mean, just the band itself. Where does the cohesion come from? Where does the chemistry come from? Because you guys have great chemistry.
That's the weird thing, man. I'm a Kansas City boy. You know, my dad's a preacher, and Matt's a New Yorker from Queens. Brad's from Ohio.
Yeah.
You know, where's Frank from?
Frank's from Texas.
Is he? I knew he was from
Frank's
Texas,
from
Central Texas. Cool. I knew he was around here, but I just didn't know what city he grew up in. But he was right around here, man. So I mean, we're from different parts of the United States, and I joined the Army, and I always loved, you know, the country boy stuff. I always loved camping. You know, one of my favorite parts of joining the Army was, you know, being able to wear boots to get muddy. You know, for money, you get paid for that. All right, yeah, let's do this. You know, I mean, I've always loved that. So I love Texas, man. Most of my dad's side of the family's from Texas. My grandfather was in the Air Force and got stationed in South Carolina. And my dad wouldn't ever live there, and then went to Missouri for seminary. But the whole English side of the family is from Texas, man. I love it. You know, I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. You know.
Well, I guess maybe I'm not reading it correctly, or maybe I didn't find it. But when did you actually guys form the band? Or I wouldn't say form the band, but when did you guys know that, okay, this is what's going to work?
So check it out. So we had this old guitarist. Me and him were in the Army together, and when he had left the band, he was the lead guitarist, and Dave Doty was our drummer, and we were playing these shows, and we had ended up getting like $500 a gig. I don't know how, but Mike had talked these 2 bars in for these $500 gigs, and when we had met Matt, right as we had met Matt, they had cut it down and only given us $150. So there was a separate cut, you know, the 3 original guys in the band, me, Dave, or Dave wasn't original, but you know, he was the second drummer, and me, Dave, and Mike. It was $50 each, when we're normally used to getting like $175 a man, and or $150 a man, you know. So getting down to $50, Mike was like, I'm not giving this new bass player my $50. He was like, I deserve this $50. He was like, he can try out if he wants to be in the band. And so I jumped on that bandwagon. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm keeping my $50 too. This guy can try out if he wants to be with us. And so Dave gave Matt his $50 to come play. Now, Matt's a seasoned musician. All right, now, that was my inexperience of playing music speaking there, because you should definitely, you know, somebody coming out, gas money, strings. You know, I'm a little bit more progressed since then. But if it wasn't for Dave Doty, Matt probably wouldn't have ever came out and played with us.
I actually never knew that.
Yeah.
Because Dave said to me, yeah, man, we'll give you $50 and all
I hope I'm not starting any
that
drama
was
here.
That was the story.
No,
that was
cool.
the story.
That's funny,
and so
man.
Matt
That's
joined
awesome.
the band as the bass player.
Yeah.
And me and Mike had gotten a little thing. He went back home, back to Oklahoma, and so it was just me. And so I called Matt up, and I said, yo, man, I called Matt and Dave. I said, I don't know if the band's going to continue. You know, Mike left, and Matt was like, yo, I've been playing guitar for 20 years, man. I'll bring my Gibson SG and my Fender Twin over later, and we'll have band practice. My jaw dropped. I'm like, you have a Gibson? You know, and so he already had lines for all the music and everything. Oh, man, so it was one of those times Matt just started playing lead on songs that I'd been playing for 2 years now, and he had brand new lead for all of them. I just laughed. I couldn't even sing. I just hysterically laughed because it sounded amazing. That, in my mind, that was the point. I was like, I think we're going somewhere. This is awesome. He's like, I got this bass player. It's really serious, man. But he only wants to be in a band if it's really serious. And that's Brad, who's the bass player now, man. And
he's got a style all his own. I see when he's up there, he's kind of just he's really into it, you know.
Yeah.
And
it was awesome because, I mean, honestly, when I joined, you know, I mean, I hung it up for a couple of years. I had my daughter, and I just, you know, but after like 2 years of hanging it up and just playing daddy, I was climbing the walls, and I just thought I was going to play in this band for fun. But then when I meet to switch from bass to guitar. And I mean, you know, I heard Mylon's voice, and Mylon's voice then isn't what it is now, but it was still amazing. And I'm like, man, we got something. You know, I was like, we really got to give this a shot. And you know, once Mylon got out of the army, it was just like
It was on.
A pretty powerful voice, man. You got some
Thanks.
pipes on you.
And
Yeah, pretty.
it's from running cadence in the Army, man. It's from running every day.
Yeah,
And I haven't been running recently, but just this week I've ran every single day.
yeah.
Because I want that back. I heard a recording that I had from about 6 years ago. And it blew my mind. I was like, wow, I need to get that back. And that was because I ran every day, you know. So I definitely building back up
The
some
stamina.
more of the power.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, go ahead. Oh, go
I was
ahead.
going to say about Brad, you know, when you started talking about him, I mean, Brad was, we played in a band back in the, I don't know, around 2000, 2001, and I mean, we've just always connected, you know, just musically as people, and, you know, when I knew we needed a bass player, I was like, he's the guy.
Yeah.
So, one thing that I'm interested in that we probably don't get to talk about or hear about is the struggles of the musician, and everybody's got their own story. So, I mean, if you wanna tell that story a little bit, or I mean, if it's too personal, or the fans don't get to hear it, so maybe we can maybe just talk about it if you're comfortable talking about it. Maybe your own individual struggle, as you know, what it takes to get to where you guys are now, to where you came from. And I know that maybe you're still having, you know, some of those things. You guys are working consistently, so I know there's struggles there. So let's talk about that.
You want to go first?
Sure.
I'll drink beer.
Man, I mean, it was a tough decision to make, you know, because it's a gamble. You know, I always thought I could sing. You know, I always thought I was pretty good at it, and you know, it only takes you getting so many compliments of you're playing somewhere and somebody turns the corner and looks, and their eyes get all big and they go, "I thought you were the radio," and they get excited. They're like, "You're really that good? What else can you play?" You know, and you get so many of those compliments, and you're like scratching your head, like, you know what? I'm gonna try this. And my dad was a musician, man. So my whole life, I looked up to my dad. I mean, he always got down, played guitar. He was a preacher, but he would play these songs like "Lyle Lovett," the church song from Lyle Lovett, and he would play that in church, man. He'd get down, like, "Ate that bird right there and then," you know what I mean? Like these borderline like songs that maybe should be played in church, you know, but it was all about the passion. My dad had this soul about him, man. I mean, you couldn't deny it. And I would sit there, and every time he'd play, I'd be moving around and like wanting to get up there and sing with him. And that's really where it started for me, man. That fever, you know, I guess, is my parents named me after a Christian singer from the 80s, Mylon Lefevre. That was the first concert they ever went to. You know, so I was named after a rock star. So my mom always told me, she's like, "You're going to be a rock star." She would put big old 80s headphones on her belly and blast records into her stomach. I was the only kid she did that for. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know the other one she would listen to music and dance around, but there's pictures of my mom with headphones on her belly. And it just sunk in, you know. But making that choice that the money's not there, man. So, you know, I was used to an Army paycheck, you know. I was used to that. And that's nice. That security there is nice. So I left home and all of a sudden had this security that wasn't quite as good as home, you know, being at home security with my folks, but I was pretty, you know, secure with everything I did. Money-wise, always had a house, always had food. The Army takes care of you, man. They really do. And then all of a sudden it was like I'm a musician, broke, shopping at thrift stores, eating ramen noodles, you know, and you just got to do it for the love of the dream. And I'm really fortunate that I have a beautiful 6-year-old daughter, and her mother is super supportive of the music I play, even though we're not together. She's still supportive and works with me with my schedule with seeing my daughter, and that's really a huge thing, is opens me up. And it's cool because my daughter thinks I'm a rock star. You know, she's like, "I want to hang out with you, Dad." She's like, "You're just a rock star." You know, and she thinks that, you know, that's just, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful that people around you, this music scene that I'm in, has given me more than I think I've ever put into it, just in the sense of confidence of knowing, man, this could really happen. You know, all my friends around, like Matt and Brad have been brothers. I mean, straight up brothers. I mean, family. Hard times, rough times, good times. I have the best memories of, you know, this band. This band, you just get on stage and you just start smiling. You have a horrible month, and you get on stage, and after about 10 minutes, you're smiling. You know, every time. I mean, it's rough. You're broke. It's rough because you're just trying to make things work, you know. But the payoff, you know, of playing these shows and the look in your fans' eyes, man. Like, and my family got to see me at shows. When you play these big shows, your friends and your family and your fans, they see you, and it's just this like, you were awesome. The songs were awesome. They hit me. I loved it. You know, and it's not like a gloating, you're awesome, but it's what you're a part of. You know, they're stoked. I mean, I remember that feeling when I saw a band when I was younger. I left excited. I left playing air guitar, singing, want to do stuff. I can give somebody that feeling, that just blows my mind, man. I mean, I feel like I'm truly blessed. I have a God-given gift, man, that I'm blessed with, and I'm thankful every single day for that. And that's what makes it easy in the struggle. You know, you can give it all away, you know, all the things, and forget about the things, the material things, and when you just follow that dream, man.
So I guess, you know, basically like the level of commitment that you put into, you know, pushing your talent out there, you know, is the ultimate payoff versus, you know, the struggles that come along the way. I really appreciate, you know, stories like that, because it actually, you know, gives you the human perspective of, okay, this is what's behind the music. You know, you don't get that very often with, you know, people, and thank you, you know, for giving us that insight.
Appreciate you having us out, man.
What about you, Matt?
Well, like I mentioned before, that, you know, I hung it up for a little while when my daughter was born, and you know, you get to realize that, I mean, I've been playing music since I was 14 and 13, and it was, before that, I've always loved music, and I loved it on a level that, you know, it's just such a part of your life, and I thought I could hang it up, and I spent 2 years going crazy. And pretty much. I was like, okay, well, I'll just get back into it and have fun and just, you know, get to play local. And it doesn't work that way. It's, you know, music is, I mean, for me, you know, music is all I really, you want to get me talking. Like, let's talk about music, you know. Yeah. And it's, you know, it's really the best thing that's ever happened to me, and it's really the worst thing that has ever happened to me, because this is my life, and I love it. I do, and but it can crucify you, because, you know, I mean, you go through, you know, it ruins a marriage, you know, and it's I'm away from my daughter, and it's just, you know, and I can't say I regret, you know, those things, because that's how important it is to me. And, you know, what Mylon was saying before about, like, when we get on stage, I mean, I feel the same very much about how this is a band of brothers. And, I mean, these guys have been there for me in my hard time. And that's one of the reasons why I love playing music with them. It's not just that they're talented guys. It's like, these guys are my brothers, and they've been there for me, and I've been there for them. And I think you can form a better bond, you know, as a band, you know, as a group, by having that experience. So, but yeah, it's, you know, music's everything. So.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate, you know, giving us your insight. I have a couple more questions for you guys, and then we'd like to close out with a song if you guys want to, and
Sure.
and then yeah. Okay. All right. Well, okay, we'll do the questions, and then we'll good. Okay, Matt, we'll start with you. Best guitar you've ever owned?
I currently own it.
Okay.
It's not this one. This one, I love this guitar, but it's a Gibson. It's called a 58 VOS, which stands for Vintage Original Spec. It's custom shop Gibson Les Paul, built to the specs of a 58. And it just, honestly, I had a guitar before it that I loved, and I never liked Les Pauls before. I always tell people I hated Les Pauls, and someone put this guitar in my hands, and like it's, without sounding corny, it's probably gonna sound corny, but you know, like it spoke to my soul. You know, I mean, it was like that kind of level that it's like, man, I need that guitar. And I ended up, I never sell guitars. Anyone that knows me, they've been to my place, they just see cases. I've got like 10 guitars, you know, and I sold my other guitar to get this one. So Gibson. Yeah.
Okay. Mylon?
Probably the one I have in my hands. It's Martin. I got it. It's a DCPA4, and I just love it. I picked it up, and I looked through a bunch of different guitars, man. And when I picked this one up and strummed my first chord, it just it was like, yep, that's it. And recently, for my birthday, for my 28th, on the 28th, I had all of my friends come out to O'Brien's, and a real good friend of mine, Ryan, who actually owns O'Brien's with his brother. I'm pretty sure his dad too. But they walked up on stage, man, and handed me a check, and they said, "This is for your new guitar." We've been talking about getting a semi-hollow body, and so I was about to start saving up for one, and on my birthday they handed me a check, and they said, "Spend it on the new guitar."
There you go.
So it's cool, man. I just got this. It's an Epiphone Sheridan. It's beautiful. It's a black beauty, man. Got gold pickups, and it's gorgeous. I love it. And I'm not much of an electric guitar player, but Matt is. Mm-hmm. So Matt's been teaching me cool little stuff that I don't know.
It's gonna be sick. We're gonna be doing twin lead stuff before you know it. It's gonna be like the Allman Brothers all over.
Woo!
Well,
Yeah.
before you guys take off, I know that you're going to be going to song swap with Stormy at Buster's.
Yep.
Stormy Lee at Buster's. Obviously, this thing won't be posted until probably the next couple days.
It's all good.
But it's, yeah. I got one more question for you guys. It's a collective question. And you guys can, powwow on it. Yeah. Where do you guys see 7 years today in the next couple years? No hopes, just confident answer.
I would say, doing what we do in 2 years. Yeah, I would a regional. Yeah, I would hopefully in 2 years it'd be regional, where we're on the road, paying our bills. That's the goal. I mean, it pays the bills these days. Not great. But it make pretty decent money at it, man. I don't have to have a full-time job. At the moment, I don't. I know Matt doesn't at the moment. But the other guys, they got jobs, but we're trying to make it to where we don't.
Yeah,
so I would say that's our goal.
Yeah, regional touring bands where it's enough where it pays the bills. Not don't think we're gonna be balling or anything.
Yeah.
Baller, shot caller.
Well, I really appreciate you guys coming out and being honest and taking part in this, and I hope that we can have you guys again, make the whole band out here, and maybe just get Frank's and Brad's perspective on everything.
The censor button.
Hey, it's all good, man. Hey, this thing is going out on YouTube. No censorship needed. I mean, I was cussing like a storm the other day. I want to thank Matt Siegel and Mylon English of 7 Years Today for coming out. Check them out on ReverbNation.com /7 years today. That's 7 with the 7, number 7. Check them out on Facebook as well. The most recent tour dates that I'm looking at right now is July the 13th, Three Rivers, Texas at the Three Rivers Bar. July 18th, Mansfield, Texas at Fat Daddy's. And July 19th in San Angelo, Stillwater Bar and Grill. July the 20th in Midland, Texas, Redneck's Draft House and Billiards. And according to them, they're going to be releasing some new material here pretty soon. So check them out. And also check them out at 7yearstoday.com. That's their actual website. I'm going to plug the shit out of you guys, man. And once again, thanks for coming out. And I guess we'll check you guys out maybe the next couple days. And
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Thank
peace,
you.
guys. Hey,
Peace, dude.
thanks for coming out. And stay tuned for more episodes of Central Texas Music Experience. Thank you.